took Esma there this past weekend. 'Cause she's like heavy into dinosaurs right now too. It was fun. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know if he's been watching Dino Dan. Okay. We'll leave the dinosaur
I was
talk
going to let you
after.
finish your sentence. She's the one that's...
Dino Dan. Or Dino Dana.
All right, so I'm going to call it 2 o'clock. This meeting is coming to order. So the meeting's come to order. Our first agenda item is approval of the minutes from the September 10th, 2020 Public Art and Display Advisory Board meeting, which was virtual.
I'll move to approve.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. So approved. Next, are there any citizens to be heard regarding items not on the agenda? We're missing our friends this month.
Since they closed the library at 2 o'clock conveniently.
Well, we have a guard here who will let people
Okay,
in.
so we will not be hearing from any outside citizens on this agenda. So moving on to new business items, we need to discuss the request to extend the deadline for grant funding for the fiscal year community partnership mural funding. Do you want to fill us in on that?
Sure. Well,
Thanks.
Happy New Year, everyone. It's been a roller coaster so far, so hoping that it goes up from here. For this item, FYI Community Partnership was awarded a grant of $8,500 from the board to create a community mural in the Lake Bellevue neighborhood. Although it seems like ages ago, it was only earlier in 2020 that they were granted the grant funding. And they are having a hard time with COVID and everything related to that to get the community together. They were able to paint the intersection mural down in their neighborhood, and that went quite well, so they're learning from that. But without the city's team leading that, it's been a little bit harder for them to do their community mural. So what they're requesting is if they can have an extension of 6 months to complete the mural. They've identified an emerging artist in the neighborhood that will work with the community to create the mural on that property. They just are asking for a little bit longer in their timing before they come back to the board to present their final product.
So we need a motion? A motion to approve?
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposition? Any questions?
What would that date be? Mid?
That'd be June 14,
Okay.
2020.
And if they need more time, I'm sure they'll just come back and ask for it, because you never know what's going to happen this year as well. So.
That's true. Fingers crossed that they are able to. I think they learned a lot from the intersection mural, so hopefully they'll be able to work. And the city's here to help with that if they need. We won't have the same road closure that we can do for them as we had in the intersection mural. But if they need some directional devices, we might be able to assist with that.
Okay.
All right. So item 4.2. Review a report on the Fire Station 46 project. The station, which you can see before you, is at 30% design plan review. I've met with the fire chief and the city's project engineer for the station. Now on this rendering you'll see sort of a napkin looking thing here, and they actually have been calling it the napkin, but that's their public art placeholder that they've put there. With Mandalay being right here, it's not the best orientation for a piece of public art. We would need to engineer that to the hilt to meet Department of Transportation standards, including a lot of breakaway materials. But one of the areas that they're working on is that they need to do what's called a 60% glazing rule compliance on this facade here. What that means is that they need to have some form of glass or glass-like materials added to the facade of the building. This area, just opposite of the napkin, is going to be turned into a glass area.
The glass what? I'm sorry.
Glass area, or glass installation. Now, what I'm working with as a potential for them, and I'm asking the development review tech if this would be allowable, is to do some sort of public art enhancement to that glass, whether it's applied directly to the glass or the glass itself, and then some backlighting behind it. That because of the covered area, the backlighting would keep that lit during the day, and you'd be able to see it much more in pedestrian and vehicular traffic. And at night would be particularly stunning out at that center. So I've been researching a couple different techniques and treatments that glass would be able to either kiln fired, just directly applied through a vinyl or other adhesive, or painted onto the glass and fired then. And so for the $62,000 budget that we have at this facility, I think we'll be able to accomplish some glass work out there. If that works for the board, and I wanted to make sure that it's a publicly accessible site, that it's viewable from afar, that it's viewable by both forms of vehicular and pedestrian traffic. This is our most public visited fire station in the city. So it's located near the Palm Pavilion at Mandalay and Bay Esplanade. And one of the things that they have people, when they come into the center, or into the station rather, they have patches from fire stations around the world. And that's one of their points of pride, is that when a visiting fire officer comes, they exchange patches. And so they have hundreds of different fire departments from around the globe. And perhaps we might be able to incorporate some of that iconography into the work that's done out there as well. So.
Yeah, Chris, I'm wondering if you were aware or have looked at City of Tampa, the Perry Harvey Park. Did a etched glass installation. I think it was probably 3 years ago.
Okay.
Themed, local artist, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
But really great reviews. That was on masonry wall. It wasn't freestanding or backlit like this, but I can find the point of contact if you need, and
Okay.
put you in contact.
Yeah,
Really good looking work.
talk with the...
Individual tiles, almost like 2x2 tiles,
That's what, okay, yes.
instead of a large panel.
Very,
But
yeah.
might be worth some investigation.
I'll talk to Melissa Davis and get some more contact for
Great.
that.
Yeah,
Thank you.
if you need something, I can hunt something down.
Thank you, Neil.
I think that's a great solution
It is, yeah.
for that space.
Thank you.
Instead of an applied napkin.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Although it's folded very nicely.
If they could make it of the
Origami.
material to do like the towel animals that you get on the cruise.
That's what I was thinking. It can be incorporated.
Origami.
Yeah.
So obviously the architect would then change those bench seats out, move them somewhere else, or maybe flip them around so they can look at the actual glass art potentially.
Yes.
Who's the architect?
This one is... Mine's here. Wanamaker Jensen. So I'll continue to keep up. They've invited me to all their review meetings and allowed me to make comments on the drawings as they come in as well. It's very nice to be part of that process.
Yeah.
So it's working with the engineers is becoming easier and easier as we go along to eliminate some of those pop-up gotcha, we're going to change the site
Right.
kind of things.
Do they have, what's their ideal time frame for when it'll be done?
They won't break ground until October of this year. Construction afterwards may take 6 to 8 months, I'd say.
Okay.
So we could see something in mid to late 2022.
Makes sense.
All right.
Okay, great. I'll just let you keep going.
Okay. Item 4.3 is review a report on the cultural arts strategic plan. We are progressing well with our contractors designing local. They're out of Ohio as well. They're from Columbus. They've held 25 meetings with stakeholders of various backgrounds and interests, and they have 13 future meetings scheduled. They also have focus groups with organizations like the Clearwater Neighborhoods Coalition, Clearwater Housing Authority, and the NAACP to get a variety of backgrounds and experiences to inform our plan. The contractors would like to meet with the Public Art Board to discuss what they're working on and see what kind of information the board would like to convey to them. And I was wondering if Thursday, February the 11th at 2 o'clock would work. This is the same kind of second Thursday of the month.
Would for me.
I have an obligation, and I don't know if I'll be in town,
Okay.
or if it's going to turn into a Zoom obligation. So I don't know.
Okay. Pat, can we do Zoom if it's a special meeting?
No, we still have to have a quorum. They're now trying to work on letting one person do it by phone, but they haven't gotten that there yet. But for Zoom, for everything, no, they still have to have a quorum present.
Physically present.
Or did they have any other suggested dates?
I can work back with them. It would be sometime in February.
Do you need a quorum for a workshop if we're not taking
If we're
any
not doing
action?
official business, if it's just sort of a information.
Hello. If more than two of you are meeting, it has to be advertised and accessible to the public, and you need minutes.
Correct, but do you have to have a quorum to do a workshop?
Yes, anytime you meet, you have to have a quorum, which is 4.
Okay.
Tuesday the 19th or Thursday the 21st?
February?
February. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm looking at January.
Yeah, it's like Fridays and
Yeah, so I was like,
Tuesday the 16th or Thursday the 18th?
the 16th, the Community
Oh,
Development Board is meeting here.
Okay.
What was the other day?
Thursday the 18th?
The 18th, I don't show any meetings here.
I have a conflict.
Conflict then?
Well, in the afternoon.
We could, perhaps the morning? No?
I could do first thing in the morning. I have an 11:30 obligation.
I could do early.
9 o'clock? Or actually 10 o'clock is when the library opens.
Well, we can have a guard.
Okay, so 9 o'clock?
I don't know how long it'll take. I have a meeting from 10 to noon on that day,
Okay.
but it's virtual, so.
No, it's not virtual.
I mean, my
Oh, you're
time is
virtual,
first, so
sorry.
I can make it quick from one place to the other.
I think they were aiming for about an hour.
Yeah.
It could go faster than that.
All right.
9 o'clock on Thursday the 18th.
Chris, I would ask that if, for productivity, if we could gain a copy of their scope of work and what is being asked of us
Mm-hmm.
and before that meeting, that would be helpful for us.
Absolutely.
I love having him around. I like smart people.
I will get that for you. Okay. So moving along, item 4.4 is the approved Donald Jalnella as the project artist for Crest Lake Park project and make a recommendation of commission to the City Council. So the selection panel for the Crest Lake Park Public Art Element met and unanimously approved Donald's work. He is out of St. Petersburg. Don is an accomplished sculptor. He's been creating his unique assemblages of utilitarian objects combined with his use of layered metals full-time since 2007, although he's been practicing as an artist in the field for many years prior. Locally, Don has created and exhibited works in Lakeland, part of Sculpture 360 here in Clearwater, and is best known for his large steel mustache sculpture at the Dali Museum. For Crest Lake Park, Don has designed a series of 5 medium-sized sculptures of layered marine-grade stainless steel. Each sculpture is a representation of the wildlife seen at the park: a frog, a fish, a moorhen, a spider, and a dragonfly. Each sculpture is between 4 to 7 feet in diameter and between 3 to 4 feet tall. They will be placed in various places around the walking path that goes around the lake. The budget is set at this one's also $62,000. And the selection panel consisted of Jonathan Barnes, Lilia Peterson is our Parks and Rec rep, Marnie Atherton is a resident representative, Catherine Corcoran, a landscape architect, and Beth Warmath, our artist representative. If approved by the board, Don's contract would be presented to the City Council at the February 16th work session and February 18th council meeting. I have some renderings of Don's work, including some videos.
Is that what he's suggesting?
This here is his dragonfly.
Can you scroll back the other way, please? The way. That's cool. Can give kids nightmares.
Giant prehistoric dragonfly.
People gonna try to write it?
People can, though it's not
interactable?
intended, it will be engineered to withstand people climbing and riding on it. The wings would be modified with a brace bracket so that they don't fold in, and that it's engineered to take a beating, essentially.
What do we think about kids running circles around it? At what point are they gonna?
All the edges would be ground and round polished. He recently did an installation in Oldsmar of the same materials, and I've run my fingers up and down on it without any kind of burrs or barbs onto that material. We also
Scares me.
have
It scares me.
a frog,
Oh, that's super cool.
and then he's created an animation of it so you can see it from all different angles.
Definitely gonna get ridden.
Yes. So this will be one of the taller sculptures at the park.
Am I the only one that's concerned about safety?
It would have to pass through safety, and Parks and Rec and Engineering would take a look at everything that'd be part of it. One of the things that was brought up regarding the foiling, essentially, is passing the head, arm, and foot test.
That's what yeah. I mean, I love them. They're beautiful, and they'd be phenomenal, but I'm just...
It's a 4-inch gapping.
4-inch?
Between the individual pieces?
That's children can get into that space if it's like a railing
Okay.
requirement.
So the selection panel did talk about that with Don, and he said that engineering to the safety standards would not be a change of anything that he would have to,
Right.
cost more. Essentially, he would just engineer them to be closer together. He definitely is expecting people to climb on top of them, so that's factored into his design of the work. They would not need much maintenance beyond blowing with the leaf blower every so often to keep from leaf clutter from accumulating on the works. other ideas are, zoom in here.
Spider's gonna give the kids nightmares.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the spider is the one that I'm a little more concerned on as far as the legs being so close together, and then the crawling underneath of what the size is for that one.
Mm-hmm.
The dragonfly, the fish, and the moorhen, less concerned. You know, they're more flat surfaces. So that's something to work with Dawn in the actual design of those.
Yeah, I think that the appendages, you know, those edges with dragonfly and frog, you know, there's a lot of abrupt edges, and just making sure that that finish is, you know, I could foresee that spider as well, as you were mentioning. It appeared to be some facial, I don't know what they're called, you know, fangs, that's it. Yeah.
Owie points.
That are not embedded in concrete or not, they're hanging, right?
Yep.
I mean, I can see people walking on the dragonfly wings.
Probably, yeah.
I don't know how you can engineer those wings to hold up. Okay, if you can do it. Those are gonna get bent.
Well, you know, I think that behooves him to have some engineering behind it, and you can run some reinforcement, some tubular up the bottom side of those that would hold it, but
Change the look.
you know, if it gets a adult jumping on it, it's something different than a kid playing on it. But I think they're interesting and would like to continue to explore it with them.
Would the board approve Donald's concept to go to the city council for commission?
I'll put in a motion to approve.
Can you do that? Yeah.
I'll second that.
Well, you need to make,
I'm not allowed to do that.
Sorry. Oh, okay.
I'll motion to approve.
And I'll-
Because I don't think you can.
No, I always try
Let me be the
though.
big boss.
I always
You gotta
try.
get out.
okay,
I know.
all in favor?
Aye.
Oh, I don't know. Just, yeah, you need to ask if there's anyone coming from the audience before you take a vote. The next one.
Oh, okay, thank you.
Okay.
Are there any comments from the audience before we take a vote? No.
They took the vote.
We're not used to guests. Okay, so we're good.
All right, so item 4.5, our favorite thing to do every year.
Every year.
Election of officers.
Yes.
May I have nominations for chair?
Eric?
I'm gonna nominate Neil.
Okay, I'll accept that. I've danced it a couple times.
I'll second that nomination.
Okay, any other nominations? Do we have a motion to approve Neil Strelo as chair? All in favor?
Everyone in favor, say aye.
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 Any decline?
So I'll just say, okay, so I'll make the motion.
You get the gavel.
Okay.
Next time.
And now we need a
Jerry's
vice,
moving to that damn stair.
we need motions for vice chair.
I vote for Jerry so she can stay on top.
Okay, and a second?
I'll second that.
Okay.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? I accept.
I didn't get to say that. It's just, you're it.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
we were gonna make Jen do it because she's not here, but
And that would have been fun.
okay. So that will take in effect at our next meeting.
Yep.
Moving on to old business items. Christopher, why don't you keep going?
Sure thing. Review and update on the Crest Lake Park project. Since we've discussed the artwork part of it, moving forward, the timeline for Crest Lake Park is 3 months from the commission for the creation of Don's work. So we're looking at an installation of mid-May of 2021. Renderings of the artwork would be presented at the grand opening of the park for the public to get a look at the upcoming installation. That is to be scheduled. We don't know the date for the grand opening yet. Marnie Atherton, who served on the selection panel, has been in communication with the Skycrest Neighborhood Association and bringing information on it back to them. So it has been well received so far. And so it'll get its public debut at the City Council on the 16th of February. Great. Any other questions on that one?
No, sir.
Item 5.2, review and update on the Clearwater Gas Utility System Complex project. There were some scheduling delays, but I've been working with the selection panel to create a virtual meeting the week of February the 1st. We received 212 applications for this.
Nice.
Been whittling down the applicants to remove projects that are not compliant with the theme and scope or the medium. And so we are looking at traditional mural 2D to be applied directly to the building. And so February the 1st, the budget for this project, to remind you, is about $100,000, with the remainder to be donated to the Public Art Fund. There may be some additional overrun funding that will be needed for equipment rental. What the building is not on a flat surface in the back. It kind of slopes down a little bit, and there's a retaining canal behind it. And then there's the Pinellas Trail just on the other side of the fence. There is a opportunity to have a boom that's extended out, or to use traditional scaffolding, whichever the artist is more comfortable with, but safety will be the top priority for ensuring that there's no accident on the work site, and that the surface is level and safe enough for them to be able to apply their work.
Sounds good.
Item 5.3, the Clearwater Police Substation project. This up here. So here is our municipal-looking building. After speaking with the architects and the project engineer, it seems the best location for maximum public exposure is the west facade facing the parking lot, or the main entry wall, and or the interior lobby floor. Now, the reason I say and or is because we don't want for the, we'd be advised, I think, learning from Fire Station 45, for the majority of the public art component of this building to be inside the facility. However, with a budget of $107,000, we do have the potential for splitting the projects over multiple sites. They currently have terrazzo floor scheduled for the interior of the lobby, although it's a whopping 200 square feet. So adding a artistic terrazzo would not break the bank on that and allow us to have the majority of the funding outside. So I've highlighted those two locations in the next image here. These are the public parking stalls here. These are the main entrance doors here. So there is a flat facade that's underneath a canopy here that everyone would see walking past, or this flat surface here that people, as they come in to park, would see it there. The police station, or police officers rather, have expressed a desire to have artwork that exudes a sense of safety and security. What I would add to that is dependability and reliance. Wanted to make sure that this is a community-based project. It is located near a highly residential area in the countryside area. So the opportunity to have multiple citizens from various viewpoints on the selection panel would be helpful for this project. Additionally, it's a sort of off the beaten path. You have to come off of McMullen Booth, make a right, and go down an access road to come to this facility. So we want to make sure that any public artwork is readily visible or easy to see if somebody does come to this facility.
So, do they know if they own that entire corner? I don't know if the city owns all of that property. The reason I say, yeah, all the way up until 580 and
I
McMullen.
don't believe so.
You don't?
I don't.
That's a bummer. Because it's completely hidden. I mean, there is, you can't even, I mean, you don't even know there's a police station there. I mean, that's not really where I live, so I didn't know there was a police station here for almost 3 years. Until I saw a couple, and I'm like, is there a cop back there? So it'd be nice if there was something that could be visible from that extremely heavily traveled intersection. And it's just, it's unfortunate. It'd be nice to have it up against the very industrial looking building. But to have it so that you could actually see it would be wonderful.
I can check to see how far our property extends, and if taking some of that landscaping down perhaps, and having a space for public art on the city-owned property, could be that it's further set back that wouldn't require the same DOT standards as if it were in the right-of-way. So we might be able to have something freestanding. That's worth exploring.
Yeah, I mean, it's a question to ask, obviously, the architect and the landscape architect to have that conversation, because I'm sure they'd be very sensitive, and I don't know what kind of trees, if that, to me, it just looks just overgrown with
I
stuff.
think there's oleanders out there, and it's just basically a wall of plant material.
Right, and it's literally hiding it. And that may not be such a bad thing for the police officers, because I know they don't like to be very well seen, but as it relates to public art, it would be nice to be able to see it. And again, it's such a heavy intersection.
Mm-hmm.
Thousands of cars every hour passing that thing in rush hour, so.
I will take a look and speak with them further on where the city's boundaries are and the potential for having something away from the building.
Sorry to be a pain, I just thought I'd ask.
No, this is your purpose in life, at least this hour.
It's my hometown. We got the shaft on the fire station. We didn't get one, so that's what I got left.
I'd like to see the word pride be added to the descriptive words
Okay.
when coming up with an idea for whether it's a freestanding or a mural or something. Because that building should be a source of pride.
I agree.
And
I
the
agree.
people inside and what they do.
Definitely.
I agree. Because that goes out as part of your call to artist, does it not?
Yes, it does. Sort of the theme and scope of the work that we're looking for in the qualifications of artists that have done similar projects, and then it's utilized for the creation of the site-specific proposal from the artists that are selected as finalists.
We can stick Neil on their planner so they can see what he can actually get away with on that property line.
What we can get away with. Pressing the envelope.
That's right.
Got to know your limits,
Yeah. You don't know them until you ask. So.
or beg forgiveness.
There you go. Now we're talking.
Okay. Any more questions or discussion on this item? Item 5.4, review the current public art fund balance. The current fund balance is $9,715. The change in balance reflects a $500 payment to artist Adi Bendov Idea for the extended loan in a musical atmosphere on the 400 block of Cleveland Street. That is an extension from Sculpture 360 Season 9. Currently getting equipment and machinery down the closed street while maintaining the access and safety lanes is not a possibility right now. If the street should open in the near future, we'll go ahead and change that artwork out for Gus and Lena Ocampo Silva, who are ready with their piece to install there once we're able to change.
It can't be done in the middle of the night.
I guess it could. Yeah, what it would maintain is, we could definitely do this, is bring the cafe seating off in the main area and bring the equipment in past the barricades. The only concern that I have with that is that it would need to go over the median, and if the artwork isn't fully stable, it might rock. But it is something that we can take a look into of doing that.
Because I'm sure they close, everything shuts down on a Sunday at 6 p.m. or 8 p.m. and that would give a couple hours of, hey, the area is closed for the moment.
Yeah, and especially during the beginning part of the week, Monday or Tuesday, it's typically not as busy with the restaurants.
Right.
We might be able to get in there sooner than the darkest of night. So I will take a look. I'll talk with traffic safety and see if they would allow that. And then I'll check with the fire station and police station as well, because they need to maintain those safety lanes if they can put into place an alternate route for that time being.
Thanks.
Right. Any other questions or discussion? Item 5.5, review and update on the CRA Downtown Clearwater Mural Program Phase 2. Phase 2, the property jury will meet on Tuesday the 19th to select murals for 2 city-owned properties. Those are 701 Franklin Street, the east and west facades, and the intersection of Cleveland Street and Garden Avenue. We have a number of talented artists in the mix there. I think we will definitely score a good win with the artwork that we have available to us as far as the talents of the artists that are out there. 4 artists are currently creating designs for a mural on private property at the Station Square Garage facing Station Square Park. So I'll bring up a rendering of that for you. It's the one I didn't put into my presentation. So at Station Square Park, this garage surface here, this is all flat behind the trees, and then incorporating these slatted works as well. So we have artists that have worked in parking structures in the past, as well as a couple artists that have long winding designs that work well on tall surfaces. So we'll see what they come back with. Because it is privately owned, it's the business's prerogative as far as the artwork that is selected, but it does have to abide by the same city standards that we would do for one of our projects. And so there's funding of up to $20,000 for this particular project. Additionally, the IDATX building at the 5 Points corner of Gulf Bay and Cleveland Street has been identified as a large format site, and CRA staff will work with the property owners to negotiate the required permissions to create a mural on that building. I'll bring that one up for you. This is the west facade of the building, so as you're coming back from the beach, heading east on Gulf Bay, that's about a 4 or 5 story tower there, and a landscape work or some sort of modified landscape and horizontal, landscape and vertical might work pretty well at that building, keeping the artwork further away from the logo to not bleed the two together. But that would be a very high traffic area to have some artwork on, and would represent our furthest out CRA initiative, as this is the east and southern corners of their jurisdiction. So we're moving along with those projects.
Excellent.
Hopefully they get some good videos like they do the other garage when they
Yes.
painted that one.
That they'll be working with drone footage and then time lapse and
Yeah,
interviewing the artists to have some similar content.
That was awesome.
And then what about, because I understand moving on is outside of CRA.
Mhm.
Do we have a plan or a strategy, or is it just a matter of finding business owners? Again, so many people say that Clearwater is more than just the beach and Cleveland Street, although half of this conversation has dealt with countryside.
We had talked as a board about instituting some sort of funded program to encourage private murals. Right now, the board had discussed having that be part of our strategic planning process. So that is indeed something to bring up with our consultants when we speak with them.
Thank you for the
I
reminder.
have been working with city staff in creating a murals on public property primer, essentially, for governing how we approach handling requests for murals on city buildings. When we look into having more civic and community-based artwork, there may be some requests to do, once we're successful in some of our programs, there might be some requests from the public to create works of art on city-owned property. So we wanted to make sure to get out ahead of that and have some basic parameters in place. I took from 11 different municipalities and Frankensteined basically guidelines together for that, and it's currently being reviewed by the strategic partners in the city.
Fantastic.
All right.
Do you have anything more to add to a director's report?
Yes, I've got a couple updates that weren't on the agenda here. They're short, so I like to put them in the staff report. The East Library lighting is progressing and should be installed by the end of the month. We needed to get electrical engineer's drawings, if you can believe it, to install a couple lights out there. It's on St. Petersburg College property, so we had to file through the building permits there. But I did receive the permit on Wednesday, so they're okay with that. And then we needed to bid out even the purchase of the light housings themselves, although they were $550. So that process took a little bit, but we have all the components together and are going to proceed with the installation there. Smaller community-based public art projects through Cultural Affairs, just contract-based commissioning, are in the works for Moccasin Lake Park and Northeast Coachman Disc Golf Park. So those will both be funded through allocations in Parks and Recreation and Cultural Affairs budgets. I was just out at the Northeast Coachman Park yesterday. It's a heavily used park for disc golfing, and they have purchased some new golf baskets or holes, if you will. And there's a ring that goes around the top of every basket that's out there. Perhaps having artists design vinyl that could be applied to the top of those, either surface artists or fabric artists, and then digitize them and print them, would be a neat way of incorporating artwork into our parks. So we've got a couple opportunities that have come up just through the general contracting system. Parks and Rec has a new director, and he is my former boss. For when I came back to the city, and he's very much in support of arts and cultural programs and finding ways of working together as much as possible, and getting those projects that aren't tied to a capital improvement project up and running.
Awesome.
Good news.
I have begun meeting with conservation companies to assess our public art collection and develop a maintenance and conservation plan for the next 5 years. Now that we have the $25,000 maintenance budget, I've reached out to them to see some of our older pieces, how to mitigate their aging and begin restoring them, and how to keep a watch on general maintenance for our existing collection. So one of the highlight areas is the Clearwater Doughboy and Sailor that are on the Memorial Causeway. They've gotten a little verdigris out there. And could use some touching up. There's a couple of ways that we can go about doing it, taking it back down to the surface bronze or incorporating sort of a half and half, if you will, but still adding layers of protectant to it so that it can resist the air and further corrosion. So I'm getting some opinions on that, as well as just maintaining our general collection. Some of the more challenging ones are Fire Station 48. Those are the recycled ladders from Christopher Fennell. Just make sure that those are maintaining and they're not weakening at any of the structure points. And then every so often changing the bulbs out there, keeping the lights on, if you will. And then just general routine maintenance for our other existing pieces.
Would light bulbs fall under that program, or maybe just a regular maintenance for the facility? Not to be skeptical, but sometimes those light bulbs can get pretty expensive, so.
Sure.
Hate to dwindle the art budget maintenance is when it should be someone else's, so.
Yeah, it's the future replacement that we would put into it.
Okay.
It's shared between building and maintenance and public art.
Gotcha.
Spacecraft is the traveling Pinellas County and Creative Pinellas, as well as independent contractors. They have created 2 shipping container art stations. Make, grow, read, and play are the topics and themes for them. They're traveling around Pinellas County. They had originally been slated to come to Pier 60 Park during spring break. But the city's precautions against large groups of assembly would not work for spring break for this year. So I'm working with them to identify some dates later on in the year, or possibly spring break 2022, depending on how long their program goes out. So I will keep you updated as far as the timing for that. But it's a very innovative idea, and they're bringing basically pop-up and drop-in artwork opportunities for families and multi-generational participation. So it would be a great program to have here in the city.
I saw that at Oldsmar, didn't
It
it?
was at Oldsmar for a long time. It had deployed out there, and then COVID ramped up, and it was basically moored there for quite some time.
Okay,
So it is traveling again.
got it. Cool.
And then I just wanted to sort of just take a moment and recognize Suzanne Rooley. She worked with the city for a number of years. She was one of the prime motivators for having the public art and design program put in place. Did a lot of the early research for that. She did pass away the other night from COVID-19.
Wow.
And so it's a kind of a big loss for the arts and cultural community. Suzanne was definitely someone that if you knew her, you would remember her well. So just keeping her in our thoughts and her family in our prayers.
Thanks, Chris.
Yeah. We've got Allison Dolan from the Historical Society here. They are at the South Ward School, and Allison and I will be working on a proposal for a mural, requesting Public Art and Design Board support to decorate the facade of the building. It faces Fort Harrison Avenue, so it gets lots and lots of traffic. And the site in mind is just perfectly framed for having a work of historical art on that building. So keep a lookout. We'll probably have it for your next meeting, and take a look at some potential out there.
Awesome.
Fantastic.
All right.
Okay.
And that's,
Concludes my portion.
okay.
Thank you, Chris.
Yes, thank you, as always. Are there any board members that have anything that they want to bring up where they want to be heard?
Not today.
Ma'am.
All right, then without further ado, I'm going to adjourn the meeting. Meeting's adjourned.
Awesome.
Maybe we'll ask for a while.
Yeah, I know.
I only got a year.
That's okay. This way I can whisper to you. Ask him this.
That's right.
Ask him
I
that.
think I heard something. Perfect.
Thank you, Neil, for taking that.
Oh, sure. That's a good choice, so, But Eric, who was right down, he wasn't gonna have it flow his way.
Yeah, we noticed that.
Whoa, wait, I got some. I was nominating you.